All right, let's talk about a reference track. If you've already got an existing project and you're just bringing a reference track in as a rough comparison, there's a few things you could think about. But what if you want to start from the ground up and use your reference track to basically guide your whole project? In other words, you want to use the reference track to give you sonic ideas. Where are you going in your choice of sounds, or actually how you want those instruments to sound? Maybe you also want to analyze the structure of your reference track. Does it have a verse, a chorus? How many times do those sections repeat? What's the tempo of your reference track? Many times you can use the reference track concept to lead you onto fresh inspiration. In general, when you're dealing with a reference track, you probably want to set it up on a track that's not being processed in any other way than simply going right to your main stereo out. A typical way to do that is to set up what's called a Q send. You go up to Studio, down to your audio connections, choose the tab on the far end that says Control Room, hit this option that says Add a Channel, and choose the option that says Add a Cue. You don't actually have to connect it to anything, but when you look over at your control room, after you've created one of these, you'll see an option down here next to Mix that shows these different options for the cue. You want to go back to your reference track, come down to the tab that says Q Sends, choose the one out of the list that you want to use, you turn it on. A very important step is go to your routing tab for your reference track and make sure everything is set to no bus. I can turn this volume up or down as necessary. I'm going to turn it all the way down. I'm going to come over and activate Q3 and then turn it up to a comfortable listening level. You can always adjust that as you go. But now your reference track is independent of all the other tracks that you're going to create. And as you create your other tracks, you can simply come back and hit the Mix button when you want to hear your project, or hit the Cue button when you want to hear your reference track. But now they live in their own space, and the reference track is not affected by any of the way that you process your main mix. Then comes the challenge of getting the tempo in our project to be aligned with our reference track audio. One of the typical ways to have Cubase find the tempo, get things lined up, is to select your audio, go up to the project menu, come down to the option that says Tempo Track, and the sub-menu for Tempo Detection. And this opens up a dialog that has the name of your audio in this window and a button to analyze. Once we click on the Analyze button, Cubase goes through a test, and then if we play the audio and listen to the click, we get the first result, which in this case sounds a little bit frantic, showing my tempo for this song up at 173. That's where these other options in this screen become useful. The main one right here, I'm going to choose the one that says Divide by 2. Now when I listen to the click, it's much more pleasant, and that's the result that I'm looking for. At that point, I can close this out. And the other question you want to ask, is it starting in a good place and really lining up with the measures the way that you're going to need it to? I have found personally the best way to approach that is don't start analyzing from the point where things are kind of undefined or it feels like there's no real tempo yet. A better approach is to go through this audio and find the first place where the beat really kicks in, or you're pretty sure at what's going on tempo-wise. And this song is happening right in this area. If we listen to it, we can hear the drums kick in. At that point, it's very obvious where the tempo is. But this leads us to another challenge. If we examine this closely, this point where the tempo is kicking in, the way that Cubase analyzed it, it's actually happening right here in the middle of bar 68. In order to use this project tempo detection effectively, we have to write a signature in telling us where this main downbeat is. But if I click in this area, Cubase writes the signature over at the beginning of the bar. Again, there's various ways you could try to move things around, but personally, what I'm going to do is take that spot where that tempo kicks in, go to my scissors tool, just cut the audio right there. I'm going to select this other piece, hit delete, and I'm just going to work for simplicity's sake with this piece of audio where I can clearly hear and see where the tempo kicks in. Once I've identified that, I'm going to make sure that I take this audio now and drag it to the beginning of some bar. In this case, it's going to bar 45. Now when I hit bar 45 and play, I'm right at the downbeat, easy to hear, very obvious. Now, this is the great thing. We can still analyze a piece of audio that we've cut like this. So let's go ahead and do that again. Making sure the audio is selected. Go back up to Project, the object for the tempo track, and the tempo detection. Again, tell it to analyze. I'm going to go ahead and hit the divide by 2 again. And now when we look at what's been done here, the actual analysis has begun right at the beginning of this clip. It's lined up with the bar above it. It's no longer coming in the middle someplace. And now I can change or draw in my time signature right here at the beginning of this bar. And when I play the audio with the click, everything is lined up and we're in a great place to begin. So once you have the main tempo area of your song mapped out, then you can work on any unusual sections separately. For example, that initial intro that I cut off, I can now drag that back out, and then I can loop over this section and basically just tap out my own tempo just to get a clearly defined transient. At this point, I can just reanalyze this new audio, hit the Analyze button, and now Cubase has written in a new set of tempo detection that it took from my little click track. Now when I play the audio, even though there wasn't any drums here, the click is going to move along with it and catch the tempo, giving us something like this. If I have everything mapped out, I could go ahead and start putting in various markers for the verse or the chorus, or what I like to do, usually draw in arranger events. If I wanted to take this song and drag it up to the chord track, Cubase would analyze the chords for me, and then I would have a well mapped out, clear plan and direction. The idea of taking a reference track, beginning your project with it, is a technique that's used by many successful producers. And now that you have some insight to some of the ways you can approach it in Cubase, you may want to give it a try for yourself. And if you're looking to up your understanding about Cubase in general, be sure to click the link in the description of this video or stop by thedigitalaudio.manual.com for more information. My name is Andrew Blake. As always, it's great to have you here. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next video.